Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Coming here in a big way to you from my new workstation that I'm super duper happy about. One thing you may notice, both hands are free. That's right, I got myself a little mini tripod, hand holder thingy, mini tripod, whatever. Freaking awesome, I'm loving it. Don't know if you saw it yet. Second, my workstation. I own it. It is a piece of garbage. Literally got it out of the garbage. We had the big flood here. People were cleaning stuff out and throwing stuff out for whatever reason they had because it got water damaged and was broken. It works out perfect for me because it's wooden and I can take it and use it. I do need to go get a vise from Hobo Freight and attach it, which I might do actually in a little bit because I forgot I actually had to do that. But basically, I'm just going to do some things real quick. What you see before you is a YD100 that I'm working on. I made myself my own degree wheel. So I basically got myself a, I don't know, a dinner plate or something, I guess technically it is, from Walmart. It's just a rigid, hard plastic plate. It was like $1. I printed out a degree wheel printout, as you see before you. And bingo bongo, I got myself a degree wheel for $1. So I think we all expected me to make my own degree wheel and not buy one because I am cheap. Frugal, I believe is the proper word. Anyway, I gotta set this to 0. I gotta find out what the squish is. I got a whole bunch of little nonsense I gotta do. Squish, just so we know. It looks like mine's not precise, it's only dotted line, so it's roundabouts, but maybe 1.2, 1.3, which if I understand correctly is kind of bad. I'm gonna break this jug off real quick, take out one of the base gaskets. That should get us closer to where we want to be. I'll check it again and go from there. Something I did notice before I turn you off real quick is the exhaust, I believe, on this one opens up all the way, and I thought that was pretty good. So I'm gonna have to loosen them to get this off. All right. I took one base gasket off. All right. Interesting. I put it on backward. It's not gonna affect the squish though, so whatever. So now we have a squish of 8, 9. One base gasket step is gonna be this. That's perfect. So we are definitely at top dead center. Now to figure out this duration, go around. Right there, it's not open. I'm trying to figure this. This is the first time I ever did this, guys, so I'm trying to figure this out as we go. But I'm pretty sure, fairly intelligent, I can figure this out myself. Opens at 107, closes at 250. So the exhaust duration is 143 degrees. Now let's see if we can get the transfer duration. I'm sorry, I'm getting used to this, guys. 103 degree transfer port duration. I feel like that's really, really bad. And I'd say I double check these measurements, but this is the first time I ever did it, and I'm 100% confident this is right. So, man, that's a good amount right there. I think proper port duration for transfers was like 120, somewhere around that mark. I don't know, I gotta look into it more. It's gonna be a reed valve, so the intake really doesn't matter. I'm just gonna open it and flow it. Blowdown. That's something we need to figure out. So let's figure out the blowdown. Blowdown is the moment your exhaust opens to the moment you see your transfers opening. So it gives me 20 degrees of blowdown. So I gotta figure out what's good and bad here. I'm pretty sure it's all bad. One thing I will say though with the CDH motor, this is the first time I ever had a CDH, a YD100 from CDH. It was lubed up very well. What I do know is we're gonna figure this out, and when I do figure it out, I will come back and let you all know what exactly my next step is. Because normally I would just grind without one of these, but now that I have one, I can make more precise decisions. So let's do it. All right, guys, I'm doing some Googling, and obviously I don't know everything. I openly admit that, and I found something called Marty's Garage. It's 2-stroke port durations. Port timing basics. I'm not thinking rev it to the moon. I want to still keep some power on the bottom end. I don't want a 6,000 revver. I don't want it to be all grunt. I want it to scream a little. It's not going to be my bike either, so another reason why I don't need it all to be bottom end, it's going to be Anthony's. He's a much smaller person than me, by probably about half, so him being so much lighter, he doesn't need as much on the bottom end, and just from past experience, the dial read automatically throws a lot of power into this beast straight up. So I'm going to go for 124. Let me write this down. For transfers, that's the goal. We're at 103 right now, so that means I'm going to have to take roughly 21 degrees off. Okay, well, we're going to have to figure out how many millimeters that is, because that seems like a lot. To figure out the needed exhaust port duration for whatever transfer. Okay, so let's see if this works out with what's stock. Is to multiply the blowdown by 2. So let's see, our blowdown right now is 20 degrees times 2 equals 40, and add it to the transfer duration. The transfer duration is 103. 143. Guys, I kid you not. What I figured for our exhaust duration is 143. The number I just got by doing what this calculator said is 143. So according to the math, is right on the money for whatever they were going for. Now I gotta make the decision on what I want to do.
About this is the first time I'm ever doing this, just so we're clear. Full disclosure.
So the YD100 is a pain in the butt because it's a one-piece jug. So to get the new port durations, the new exhaust duration, I would want it to be at 100 degrees and it would close at 257. That would give me a duration of 157 degrees. The new transfer duration, new transfer open, would open at 120 degrees, close at 237 degrees. That would give me 117 degrees duration, which would still give me 20 degree blowdown. Now to change that number higher, I could lessen the amount of transfer, or the roof of the transfer. I could keep lower, raise the exhaust. But as the first time really figuring the math out, I feel like the 20 is the good number for the blowdown, because that's kind of where I'm seeing the number to be. Unless you want a crazy high revving number, then you want a higher degree of blowdown, but you lose the bottom end. I don't need this thing revving out to 10,000 and blowing the roof off, so that's why I'm going to bring them both up together. The amount I'm figuring I'm going to have to raise the roof of the exhaust and raise the transfers is about 4 millimeters. Okay, that doesn't take into consideration widening the port a little bit and all this. I still have to figure that out. I was just figuring out how high I would need to raise it to get the durations I'm looking for. I'm going to have to get the jug off now, mark it inside. I need it 4 millimeters up. 4 millimeters. This is the roof right now as it is, the outside roof of the piston. I mean exhaust, sorry. It tapers down. See this line right here? That's where the actual roof of the inside of the port is. From there to there is 4 millimeters when you measure across. That's where I'm coming up with the 4 millimeters, because I really want to try to keep this straight. Now I can go higher with the exhaust. It would just have to then, it wouldn't be straight, it would be tapered down. The roof would be up here somewhere, you know, height-wise, and it would taper down to this, which I still might do. I'm going to do some more thinking. And the same with the transfers. I have to bring them up the equal amount to keep that 20. I'm thinking I'm going to take the very center of the roof and make it extremely square with a slight taper, a little bit rounded, and then the edges a much greater radius, so I can get a really good power band. And the roof angle of the transfers, instead of whatever they are now, I didn't measure them, let's say they're 30 degree angle, to keep it a lower revving bike and higher torque. Let's put it at maybe, I'm just using numbers, 25 degrees. So this way it can still have high-end power, but it's going to be real grunty and still rev up a little bit. That's what I'm getting from everything I literally just learned in research.
Like I said, full disclosure, I have never done this before.
You've seen me port many motors. Never have I done it with a degree wheel or understood anything about all this outside of the fact of guesstimates. But no matter what, knowing what I just learned now changes my ideas on a lot of things and how this little wheel changes everything I do. Yeah, I'm all up in your face. So, not normal bike content here, but I'm going to put it in here anyway. I got my new rotary tool, flex shaft thingy bob, and the end broke. This is the end over here. Let me turn you guys, boom, see that? And then my vise, yeah, you heard me right. It's a freaking vise and I got some in my eye. Ow! Anyway, oh, it's bad. I hope you can see it. If you can see it, nod your head. All right, thank you. So, I need to put the end back on here. This is the end that goes inside this end of the head, which makes the spinny thing go spinny. It's disconnected. So, I don't know how to fix it. So, the only way I do know how to fix it is with fire. Who doesn't like fire? I put a little flux inside the head, and I'm melting some solder in it. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that's good. Okay, so there you go. Not normal bike content, but I'm sure you all appreciated the fun with Johnny. Alright guys, so as it is, we've got the transfers done and we got the exhaust done. However, the exhaust, I really wanted to have a little bit more blowdown, so there's a chance I might take it off and go up on the exhaust, but as it is, I'm happy with it, and we'll see how it runs. I'm getting a little bit of flack from some people that supposedly know much more than me, and I'm not denying that fact, but saying that I'm doing it completely wrong and that the blowdown isn't right and I shouldn't have touched the transfer, whatever nonsense. The first time I'm ever using a degree wheel, won't be the last time. It's all a learning experience. Second of all, there's literally nobody on YouTube that shows you how to port a YD100 or how to make real big power. Everyone's done the China Girl 80s, but no one's done the YD100s, and that's the platform I enjoy. So, with all that out of the way, this is what I came up with, just so we're all on the same page. The exhaust, 170 degrees duration. Transfer ports, duration of 130. Blowdown is 20. That's pretty great. The original was exhaust 433 degree exhaust duration. Transfers, it was a 103 duration, 20 degrees of blowdown. So my main thing with this, with what I was doing, was I wanted to get it to rev a little higher than stock, and I wanted it to be much torqueier. This is going to be a dial read, which is what we're about to get into in a second here. So out of the box, I always felt that they were pretty good little torque monsters, but they definitely could have more. So if I could get it to rev higher and just all around be torqueier, that's what I'm going for. So this is all a learning curve. Oh, and when I said the transfers are done, the amount I raised them is done. You know, the amount that I raised them is done. It's a dial read, but it's not like my dial read. This one's for Anthony. It's the kind you can literally bolt on. That's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna bolt this on. For the transfers, I still have to port match to the cylinder. I have not done that yet. I didn't even crack it open yet because honestly I've been just concentrating on getting them at the right deck height and all that, you know, the right height, not deck height, the right transfer height and exhaust and stuff, and I wanted to be able to put it back on the motor and measure everything. So I didn't do any of that yet. So what I'm getting into right here is I'm finally getting the dial on. Now I didn't obviously put any gasket in there, which I won't do anyway, to be honest with you, because of this particular setup and the way this dial attaches. What if it seals well? Because it's like literally right where the screw is, I guess. I don't know. I don't really like this setup, to be honest with you. But everyone swears by it, says get it. Whatever, we'll figure it out as we go. Worst case scenario, it doesn't work. I might just fill this in with JB Weld so that I can get a much smoother surface. I'll just use the quick weld and make sure it's a really good mating surface so that it seals really well. But no matter what, I'm bolting this on right now so I can start wallowing this hole out. You good? Yeah? Okay. So we can record now? Okay, thank you, camera. So, I put the dial read plate on. You could probably see all that black stuff on there. That JB Weld. So, like on my dial read, there's no need to take, you don't take this off. It's on, it stays on, is what it is. So, same with this one, it's not coming off again. If I have any issues, I'm taking off the dial cover, not the plate, the mounting plate. The screws that hold it to the actual intake. I personally will probably never use this again. I don't like this setup. It doesn't let you open up the intake. If you're doing it a stock setup and you're doing it, if you're an amateur and you're not a professional like me, by all means, it's a really good setup if you're not gonna port it big and aggressive. Okay, so that's good. Everything is great on it. I'm really happy with it. I'm starting to take the actual motor apart now, and I still have to port match the actual case to the cylinder. Now, you don't have to do any of this. I am choosing to do this because I want to make some power. I'm very excited to get this one going. So we're going to see how it comes out. So I'm just knocking this apart real quick. Got to knock the clutch out and crack it apart. Probably ruin the gasket and then use Ultra Gray to seal it. Ultra Gray to seal it up. I surfaced the deck of the case. Always do, just better surfaces, you know. So on the piston, I drilled my pilot holes for where the window's going. Also, I'm going to do this real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. Do one. Okay. The hole over here, see how it's bigger? The oiling hole? I drill them out. I want more oil in there. I have a lot of problem with my pistons, not seizing up, but definitely burning more than they should. So I now drill holes, and I have lost that problem. There's always holes. You see the one on your left. It's smaller. That's factory. But I put the bigger ones on your right here, and it just lets the oil get in there better. So that's the only reason I do it. And since I started doing it, I stopped having troubles. So there you go. All that's left then is waiting for the JB Weld to finish curing. Another hour or two, and I guess then we'll get going on maybe assembling it tonight. That'd be nice. Are we gonna work on the first take this time? I don't think so, because it just bleeped forward to a bunch of seconds, but it's still going, and I'm still singing, so it's probably gonna work, but I never know. Anyway, welcome back to Johnny's Motorized Bicycles. Today on Johnny's Motorized Bicycles, we're gonna do stuff with motorized bikes. What? Oh my gosh, you say? I know. Who would have thought that this channel talks about motorized bikes? My mind has been blown, and it is now in a bottle. Anyway, back to normal. There's a freaking normal here. So, yesterday, in my great wisdom, I finished everything and I cleaned it all up. So, you got transfer port, you got exhaust portage, you got intake portage. Also, so you can see here on said intake portage, this is where the screw holes are. So what I did is I filled them, I tightened it down, then I filled in all the screw holes right here, the heads of the screws. They were Allen screws. I filled them in and whatnot, let it harden, and then I sanded it down to have this nice shape. On both sides of the piston, I do it on the exhaust side. See the recesses for the cert clip? I do that so I can cut the ears off of the cert clip. That's the part that breaks and falls into the motor and then chews the motor up over and over and over again, and it's very discouraging. So to remedy that, because I'm not going to go buy the $2 Wiseco cert clips because I'm cheap, and my name is still Johnny, but because mainly because I'm cheap. Let's just be honest. If it comes with it, I want to use it. So yeah, I put those recesses in there so I can just like get a screwdriver or pick something small and pop out the clip. Since there's going to be no ears on the cert clips, I got to be able to get in there and get it, so that's what I do. Also, weight reduction. Also, hi Heather! Hi Heather! I always clamp it together and get it where I think it's about right, and then I put the two top bolts in, and then I deck the top of the surface here, which not a lot. As you can see here on this one, see the marks that are like little half moon rainbow shape, like that's the actual machining from when they originally decked this out of casting. And this was a very low spot. Everywhere else was decking out really nice, but this took the longest. That's why there's still a line. So I stopped going down because I didn't want to lower the squisher and mess it up or anything too much. I already took one gasket out when I measured all the durations and the squishes, so I do have the other gasket to put in still if need be, if this changed it that dramatically, because I measured everything with one gasket. Okay, so now I did all the port work. I did all the unnecessary stuff that probably going to make it run way worse. Probably would have ran better if I'd have just slapped it on the bike, but you know I can't just do that. I changed all the port durations and everything. I took great care in getting the roof angles correct on the transfers. That was very hard. This is the first time I ever did that. The first time I ever did this level of port work with a degree wheel and all of that. So I took as much care as I could, but for a first timer on doing this kind of extreme work, I'm very excited and happy with the way it came out. No one has any information on the YD100s. Everyone has the PK80s, the Lock, all that, you know, the 80cc's, the 66s. No one does YD100s, and if they do, they don't post videos about it in any great detail. So this is my favorite platform, and that's what I'm going for. So I took my caliper and I measured the roof depth on everything to try to get all the spacing, the roof angles correct. One thing I do on these motors every time, I take it to the faucet when I'm cleaning it out, and I shoot water from the faucet straight down and let it hit right in the edge of the port, the transfer port, and I watch to see which way it spreads the water, because that will let you know how the air is getting forced up and spread into the intake. I do it when it's stock, and it's amazing that the little roof angle still sprays the water so far up towards the spark plug, and I duplicated that quite well. Now, so we're clear, there was about 4 millimeters of meat I took off the top of the transfers and the exhaust. So I took away quite a bit of material, and I'm extremely excited to put this together and see how it works. We're gonna start assembling now. I got my paintbrush out, ultra gray gasket maker out, and I'm going to seal everything up, and I'm going to not use gaskets where possible because I don't really like the gaskets. Okay, I will talk to you when I get it together, and then we're going to put it on a brand new bike, and this is a brand new kit, and we're going to try our best to get it going correct. Talk to you in a bit. Okay, so case is together, only stripped out 4 bolts, so that's good. It's called humor. Doesn't always have to be funny. Next step for me when I'm putting this together is I'm going to put the clutch in. This is a stock clutch, been done to it, nice and smooth, but because I'm going to be trying to make more power, I'm going to just compress the spring ever so slightly, probably another turn, maybe 2. This was bone dry. Look at this, not a drop of grease on here. If a person put this on and just started running it, they are SOL. Shoot out of luck. It would start chewing it up 110%, and might have actually started getting the clutch to stick, thinking you have a big issue almost immediately, because I had one do that to me, and it was almost immediate. I had it greased up, and then I took it to the car wash. I sprayed that area, and it squeezed all the grease out, and literally on the ride home it stopped working, or it kept working, but it was like seizing up and getting stuck, and it wouldn't disengage the clutch. So very important that this is greased. Just for future reference, so you can know what I'm looking at here, see how far away, now this is obviously not tightened yet, but I just want to show you, see how far away the clutch arm is, like out like this. When I got the motor, it was like this, where it should be, but because I tightened just that, I think it was 3/4 of a turn I put on it, the spring, look how much more it comes out. So now when you compress it, you don't have to compress it as far to get the same amount of action from the clutch. And what did that do? That's right, it also does things. It puts more pressure on the clutch, so you don't have those issues of slipping, which nobody likes to have their clutch slip. I do it to every motor I do now. It just makes sense. Okay, next step is going to be not spill my drink, and we're going to need this gasket, the coil, stator, whatever you want to call it. We're going to need the actual foil. Now, for the circ clips, the ones that come with the YD100 are little G's. We're going to cut that G off because we ain't going to have no gangsters in this hood. So let's put the gasket on. One base gasket. Something else I started doing, it's not necessary, but I put a real thin coat of grease in the cylinder head. Let's go ahead and get this all cranked down and tightened up and then see what we got going on. Looks like a 0.5, 0.6. So after we're tightened down and good to go, we'll go outside and get all the parts together for this bike and we'll start putting it together. Why I filled this in, because look at that. If you put those screws in there and then do the dio, like in reality, the only thing that's actually sealing and touching is this tiny little piece of metal on both sides. That's silly, bro. Like, how are you gonna get a good seal with that? So that's why I filled it in with the JB Weld. So I have a nice flat, perfectly flat, even surface that I can mate it right up to. Now I'm putting it so that it's facing the left side of the bike, but I'm not 100% if it will stay like that. It all really determines and depends on how it fits on the bike. That is one sexy motor. Now we're working. All right, guys, this is the first time I put it on. No U-bolt front mount. I got full regular mount in the back, and we clear. Because it's a dio, we have more than enough room here. This is about where it's going to sit, but because of the dio, no issues with actual clearance. Regular carburetor on these frames is a very snug fit. We are going to move on to the next biggest pain in the butt, which is probably this sprocket's a big pain in the butt. I guess I could do that next. Yeah. Really from here, it's just simple stuff. Actually, I got the gas tank out. I'm going to put the gas tank on, and that will be the next thing I do. Oh my gosh, am I excited about this. It's the first time I ever did this level of quality of work. Okay guys, we are built. Still got to tie all the things down and do all that, but this is first fuel up. I got high hopes, but who knows. This is on. I'm just going to point you guys into the street. Put you right here, actually. You'll definitely hear if it works. Gotta make sure there's fuel getting in the carburetor. Bone dry. We need more fuel than that. Alright guys? Okay guys. So, that was a bust. No fuel. Oh, there's no fuel getting into the carburetor. Okay guys. I finished it last night. I finished porting the motor yesterday. I finished putting it on the bike yesterday. So it started yesterday for, it was like 60 seconds it ran, but barely, like on idle. Just the throttle cracked a little bit and on choke. I had a lot of trouble getting the fuel to start coming out, period. And I think that's continuing to be a problem. All right, so that's the fuel that was in the carburetor, which is barely nothing, and that's the fuel on, and it's not even coming out. So I have the stopper out. Fuel is on, but there's no fuel coming out. So it's not getting fuel. Motor can't run without fuel. When it did get a little bit of fuel, it did start up, and I could tell it was running pretty good. But for now, I'm going to go through and I want to put zip ties on all the wires and stuff. I just want to get all that situated, because now that I know for a fact it will run and I'm not going to have to suddenly take it apart, I like to go ahead and zip tie it at that point.
Hey John.
Yeah.
You something stronger than this one?
Stronger?
Yeah, because I'm trying to cut a chain in half.
Well, you can't cut a chain with that.
No, I tried, but it didn't.
No, you're gonna mess my dikes up.
No, I didn't.
Well, you will. Why'd you?
No, I didn't do it.
Jackass. Why don't you use a saw?
Give
Wait,
me...
a chain like a bike chain?
Yeah.
You're a mechanic?
Yeah, I am. Oh, well, you got a chain breaker, but...
Come on, man.
All right.
I'm a professional.
I know you are, but I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I ain't want to go through all this.
Well, that's the only way to do it right,
Yeah,
bro.
I know that.
You know that. That should keep everything out of the way.
Here you go, Joe.
Good?
I ain't messed it up, did I?
No, that's all right.
I know it's all right. I ain't. God.
Float was way out of adjustment.
Warren,
Yeah.
you see anybody walking with covered in blood?
No.
No?
Hell no. What are you talking about?
All right.
Oh, the white guy.
This guy walking down
It must be a white guy.
I don't know. Over here.
Who called you? Oh. Okay. No, I ain't seen nobody.
Okay, guys, so the float was way messed up on the adjustment. Oh, that's way better. We're adjusted now, I think. Yeah, it was way out of adjustment. The bowl, it was not getting any fuel. So, okay, so we adjusted the float, and now we're hopeful. So this will be real start and initial real try, I guess. Number 3.0. Let's try it. I'm gonna put it through a couple heat cycles and see how it goes from there. And once that happens, I'll come back and I will talk to you guys and probably take you on a ride along. But never been run before. This is braking and everything. So let me go see what she does and go from there. I drilled 2 holes in the bottom, give it a little extra flow. It sounded very congested. So we're going to do that. And I also raised the needle to lean it out. I want to see how it acts for that. I also have to still adjust the air fuel mixture and see where that is. I never even did that yet. I totally forgot, to be honest. So that might help me with the idling issue I'm having, or coming off 1/8 of the throttle. It wants to buck and spit and sputter. So hopefully that will fix that issue. Whatever you're working on. All right, so I finished off with the needle on the second to the top. I have a 41 pilot in it and a 125 main. And I'll take you for a ride in a little bit when I go see my buddy. It's still gonna break in, so that's not final tuning, but it is running pretty good, I think. It does rev up to around 7-ish. I don't have an RPM, a tachometer, but from the sound of it, so I wanted it to be somewhere around 8 to 9, but the tuning isn't done and it's not broken in yet, so I have a feeling it's going to end up be right about where I want it to be. But man, it gets there pretty quick, but I'm trying not to go watt. Because I really don't want to blow it up. Really don't want Just gotta break in, obviously. So I did a couple heat cycles on it. I changed the jetting and I adjusted the carb. It's set. The idle air mixture is at 1 1/4, I believe. I'll adjust it more as it breaks in, but we're gonna take it for a ride later. I gotta pick up some tires. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry it's so long, but I really wanted to try to get the whole project of building it and getting on the bike and running all in one video. I just think the rest of it, doing it all little by little, is kind of boring. Maybe one day I'll get way more in depth on exactly how I do it and what exactly I do, but for now, I figured that was good. So if you guys get a chance, if you could, please smash the like button. If you could, please subscribe. Think about it. If you could, hit the bell that goes with the subscription. Most of all, if you could drop me a line, I'd appreciate that a lot. Just tell me what you're doing and what you're up to, what you're building, breaking. On my way to Walmart right now. Go get some ice cream. If you could, consider going over to Johnny's Motorized Bicycles Facebook group. I would appreciate that. There is a link for it in the description, along with everything else you might need. Go down there and click, address, everything. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you later. Peace.